And now it's time for the call out story. This was also revealed at the CNN and at the convention. Geez, this was revealed in multiple places, but here we go. I told you guys that they were lying about the job numbers. I've been saying this for over a year because I actually talk to people on the ground, and I don't just listen to corporate media and go by what they say. And I knew a number of people over and over again were being laid off. All these companies laying off hundreds of people one at a time, Well, believe it or not, even CNN is admitting that the Biden administration lied about job creation. CNN and Fox News. Of course, I expect it from Fox. Didn't expect it from CNN. Listen to this.
Some breaking news in the CNN right now. The job growth has been far weaker in the U.S. than originally reported. That is according to new data just coming in this morning. Let's get right to CNN's Matt Egan. What's the headline, Matt?
Jim, 818,000 fewer jobs were added during the period between April 2023 and March of this year. We were bracing for these revisions to come out and show that job growth was weaker, and that is what we got. This is probably on the high end of the expectations. Some of the forecasters had been saying probably around few 100,000 jobs. Goldman Sachs had said maybe up to 1 million. So this is on the higher end. We're seeing some of the biggest revisions downward in sectors that include manufacturing, leisure and hospitality, professional and business services. Of course, some sectors actually added more jobs than were previously known. Private education, health services, transportation and warehousing. We look at the market, not a massive reaction from the market. I think that's in part because this is somewhat backwards looking data. What investors really care about is what happens next. And these numbers out today, they do support the idea that the jobs market has been weaker than we previously thought and that it has been slowing down. That makes sense because we know the Fed has been working hard to slow the economy down as it tries to fight inflation. So I do think that the fact that the economy had more than 800,000 fewer jobs than previously known supports the idea that the Fed is going to start cutting interest rates next month. The question still remains whether or not it's a 1/4 point or a larger interest rate cut. But either way, it's going to lower mortgage rates, credit card rates, and car loan rates. Jim?
Yeah, all of these data points are very important, and you have to think it's all being taken into consideration for that critical decision that's coming from the Fed. Matt Egan, thank you very much.
Long story short, ladies and gentlemen, sounds like they were cooking the books. I told you, because notice how they never told you what sector these jobs were created in. They never even gave you like even just one sector at all. Like they could have said, we created 1,000 jobs in technology and we created 2,000 jobs in food and service industry. Like they never told you what jobs were created. They didn't say if these were temp jobs, if these were contract jobs. And so, of course, you know, Fox News was also at the DNC convention and they had a field day with this one. Yikes.
They say the economy's great. Just look at the jobs numbers. Well, we did, and they disappeared. A new report by the federal government reveals that the Biden-Harris administration overcounted the number of new jobs this year by almost 1 million. 800,000 jobs. Joe and Kamala say they created, poof, gone, never actually existed.
The Harris-Biden administration has been caught fraudulently manipulating job statistics to hide the true extent of the economic ruin that they've inflicted on America. They built them up so that they could say what a wonderful job they're doing. No, we've never had numbers like this. They don't exist. They thought they could do it sometime after, you know, we have an election coming up very quickly, but they wanted this to come out after November 5th.
The last time jobs disappeared this quickly was when Obama was president in 2009, when hope was the policy. Biden's own commerce secretary, totally unaware.
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
Get this, guys, that is horrible. So she dismissed it because she said, well, Donald Trump's not telling the truth. And so the commentator tried to tell her, well, no, this is from the Bureau of Labor. And she's like, well, I don't really know what that's about. Oh, of course not.
The Democrats are now lying about lying. What does that say about the true state of the economy? Stuart Varney is the host of Varney and Company, and he's up very late.
I am indeed.
So what does this say about the true state of the economy? It probably makes sense now why a lot of people say things aren't as good as the Democrats claim they are.
Oh, that's absolutely true. It isn't. They are not as good as things are supposed to be, as the way they tell it. It's going to be interesting to see how Kamala pivots on this. How do you reverse the idea, oh, we've got a great booming economy, but you don't? How are you going to reverse that? How do you pivot out of it? They get everything wrong on the economy. They said inflation is transitory. No, it's not. It was a peak in their period. They got lots of jobs created. No, not as many as you said. The border, it's under control. No, it's not. America is respected. No, it's not. How is she going to pivot with these lousy jobs numbers to show that we really do have a good economy? You can't do that pivot.
You know how she pivots?
Deny it.
You know how she pivots? She doesn't talk about the economy.
That's
how she pivots.
But it's going to come up in the debate, and the debate is just around the corner. Actually, the first debate is in, I think it's the first or second week of September. It's just around the corner, so that is going to come up.
By not talking about it. And a lot of these jobs were from foreign-born workers, the ones they say they created.
Now, take this forward for a second. How are you going to raise taxes? How are you going to clamp down on excess profits? How are you going to clamp down on prices when the economy is slowing like this? How are you going to do that? Kamala Harris's program is raise taxes, hit business. How do you do that when business is declining? You're going to head us straight into a recession.
Business is declining, and then she's also going to wave her magic wand and say the bacon costs $4.50 now. I mean, how do you cap prices? What kind?
Well, okay, now Jesse is being disingenuous because Richard Nixon did this. Richard Nixon stopped price gouging. So come on, Jesse. Come on. You on Fox. You should know more about this than me. So there is that. And it brings me to this point here, which is that, again, that's going to come up during the debate. So they're going to have to talk about the economy. But it sounded like to me that they were basically cooking the books. But I told you, if people would leave their studios and they actually talk to people on the street, go into some of these neighborhoods that you may not feel comfortable going into, get outside of your class bubble, and you talk to those people, and you would know what the real job market is like. And I know it. There's been a number of people that told me how many jobs that they've applied for. They haven't gotten any of these jobs. So I said that about the economy, but people aren't even thinking about that because check this out, guys. A lot of times these people are voting for Kamala. They don't even know why. Look at this. This was so cool. Democrats cannot name any policies of Kamala's that makes them want to vote for her. Listen to this, guys.
Be up for a quick interview?
Yes. Yes.
What's your favorite policy of Kamala's?
That's a hard one.
What's your favorite policy of Kamala's?
Her being president.
That's your favorite policy position?
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Because it covers everything that she defends.
I'm really excited for her to restore reproductive rights across America.
How do you think she'll go about doing that?
I don't know.
See, that's the big one, the reproduction right one. I told you that has not been explained how she would do that. And the girl there told you, well, I don't know. They're just going along with it.
Fun question.
I don't know. I'm picking and choosing. I mean, I really like most of them.
So you have to look at it broadly, right? It's about what she stands for right now.
What's your favorite of Kamala's policies?
I'm trying to think. Well, actually, more of like, what Waltz comes in.
All of her policies, everything from I'm non-binary, and so all of the policies for basic human rights to have our own bodies and do with them as we please,
Her willingness to move forward on affordable health care.
How do you think she'll do that as president?
I think she'll work to motivate the legislature to vote in favor of it.
As her as a person, just tops out any policy. I really admire her.
Great, thank you both.
See, people just voting based on vibe. They don't even know what they're voting for, right? It's crazy, man. People are like, I just like her. I think it's just really cool, you know? And then one of the things that Kamala Harris's campaign is continuing to talk about, or they've mentioned, I think the most often, is the price gouging, right? And going after corporations. They said they're going to tackle those corporations. Well, Chris Cuomo even calls that out at the DNC convention. Listen to this. Shout out to Hotspot for this, by the way.
Chris Cuomo exposed the hypocrisy right at the DNC.
A big theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging. And they're going to go after corporations, whether it's in taxes, largesse, loopholes. The RNC, we heard the same thing. They're going after the elites. The two sets of rules. But there's another reality that is literally looking down on them. There is a game of money. Those suites start at 500 grand. You think there's like a teacher group up in there? Those
500 grand. I told you ain't no poor people at this convention.
Boxes are filled with the same people that they say they're going to regulate. They are literally looking down on the faithful and being told, yeah, we're going to break down on them. We're going to make them pay their share. They paid 500, 700, $1 million, $1.5 million to have those seats. In 2000, they spent $300 million on presidential campaigns. 24 years later, you know what they're expected to spend? $10 billion. Do you know how much money Harris has raised in the last couple of weeks? Hundreds of millions. And that's success. A lot of it's small donor. A lot of it isn't. The most dangerous money in politics is now legal money because of Citizens United. The idea that they can fight against it is almost laughable.
What I tell you. See, they never explain to you how they're going to do these things. You have to be wary of, these campaign promises because, like, for example, one of the things that, Bernie promised was Medicare for all, right? But Bernie never really answered the question about, well, how are you going to get that to pass? How are you going to get that to pass in the House? Right. He didn't really answer that question. He was just like, if I'm president, on day one, we'll implement Medicare for all. But you have to pay attention to those things. So again, do you think the people that are sitting at the very tippity top of, top of that, do you think that they're going to be like, yeah, let's cut corporate greed and corporate interests? No. D.L. Hugley is now there. Let's go ahead and bring him in. He's another kiss up.
Now, wait. Where those AKAs at? Where they at? You know what? In 3 months, ain't gonna be no living with y'all. I can tell you this. I don't blame Donald Trump for not wanting to debate Kamala. I've been married to a black woman for 40 years and I ain't won one debate.
What does this have to do with what Kamala Harris is going to do for the country? Everybody see this? Okay. For those who don't, so D.L. Hugley, he's a comedian. He also had a TV sitcom, The Hugleys, at one point. He's another one, I believe, that has been bought out by the Democratic Party. He's been online shaming Black people for not wanting to support Kamala Harris. So just letting you know, that's what you're getting right here.
93,000. Now, of course, Trump is saying that Kamala isn't Black. I guarantee you this, Kamala's been Black a lot longer than Trump's been a Republican. And
let me go ahead and correct this one more time again. When people say that she's not Black, they mean she's not a Black American. Black Americans are an ethnic group. I am a Black American. Kamala Harris is not a Black American. Her dad is from Jamaica. Her mom is from India. Just want to go ahead and explain that to people, because what D.L. Hugley and some others are trying to do is they're like, well, her skin color is what it is, so she's Black. No, the term Black is unique to America. So people have to understand that was not originated in Jamaica or in Haiti or these other countries. That the Black American, that is distinctly to identify the ethnic group of African American descendants of slavery here in America. That's what that means. And I think that D.L. Hugley knows that. But again, It's very clear that the Democratic Party, they offered him something. I don't know how many checks they sent in his way, but they offered him something anytime they got him to go after his own people.
If he keeps sliding in the polls the way he is, the only way he can keep Kamala out of the White House is if he buys it and refuses to rent it to her. Of course, Kamala's getting broad support. They got black men for Kamala, white men for Kamala, Latinos and Asians for Kamala. They even have Republicans for Kamala. Republicans for Kamala. I guess Donald Trump will finally know what it's like when you get left for a younger woman.
They had Republicans for Joe Biden too. This is not a new thing.
But seriously, Kamala knows the truth about the American dream, that hard work is not enough. Hard work alone is not enough to succeed, that you need access and information and opportunity. And she knows that some folks are often denied those very things. As president, she will give each and every one of us a fair shot in life.
She won't even let a Palestinian American speak on the main stage, but she's going to give a fair shot to everyone, right? Okay.
But I have to admit, I didn't always believe that. I mean, if you told me the 15-year-old me would be on stage supporting a prosecutor and a teacher, there is no way that I would have believed you. But because of that, I made assumptions about Kamala's record. And I often repeated them to a lot of people. Then one day, Kamala invited me to her house. She put her hand on my shoulder and she asked me to do some research. Something I had never done. Something.
Yeah, she invited you out of all that. She just happened to tap you on the shoulder and say, come to her house and do some research. I have done research about Kamala Harris's record. So watch D.L. Hugley. I already know he's going to gloss over the things that I've told you about that record.
A lot of people I know had never done before. Imagine attacking someone's character without a single Google search. So I did what I should have done in the first place. I learned that she had done for us exactly what she promised to. I believe that your apology should be as loud as your accusation, and I'm here apologizing in front of the whole damn world.
What did she do? Notice he doesn't tell you what she did, right? Everybody's just going along with it.
I was wrong, and I'm so very glad I was wrong because, Kamala, you give me hope for the future, a future where my grandchildren, Nola and Stevie, had the freedom to control their own bodies, where they have the...
What were you wrong about? Notice he doesn't tell you what he was wrong about.
The opportunity to go as far as their wits and their talents would take them. That future, ladies and gentlemen, is possible, but only if we elect Kamala Harris as the 47th President of the United States of America. I will say this to you, the best piece of advice I've ever gotten in my entire life is you don't have to know what you will do, just know what you won't. And we won't go back.
That's what they got him to come out there for? That right there? I was wrong about, he said he was wrong about Kamala Harris's record, but he doesn't tell you what he got wrong. Everybody see how this works?